podcasting from somewhere with protein shakes and no yearly membership fees. This is the HeroFit Podcast, the show that talks about the ins and outs of fitness, nutrition, and anything else that might get you feeling like a hero. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your hosts, Nick Stutzman and Dan Weber.
Hey, all you listeners out there, thank you for joining us today. We have a great show for you. I am Nick Stutzman alongside my co-host Dan Weber. As with most of the episodes, we are promoting health, wellness, and your overall fitness, and even maybe some nutrition. And so into each podcast, and this one will be no different. So Dan and I are going to be talking about
Buti Yoga.
Buti Yoga. B-U-T-I Yoga.
Yes.
It sounds like booty because it is. It's Buti Yoga. And we are going to be taking this class prior to our interview with Megan. And this is...
We just keep getting more extreme.
We are. We're doing this for you guys. It's not for us. It's for you. We're doing it for the sake of the podcast, but also for us. So what do we expect out of this? Actually, first, we should talk about what this is. So Buti Yoga, I'm looking at a reputable site.
This is where we need to invest in a camera and high-quality YouTube videos right here.
Right.
This is the moment.
Buti Yoga is a unique practice known for its cardio-intensive bursts of tribal dance, primal movement, and conditioning, calorie-scorching, body sculpting, and dynamic yoga practice.
To me, it seems like... and this is going to sound very ignorant to the Buti Yoga practitioners.
Yeah.
It's like yoga with Zumba.
Perhaps.
Or yoga with, what was that Shanti program everyone was doing?
Bikram yoga?
No.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Insanity, that's what it's called.
I'm like, huh?
It's insanity plus yoga.
That's why
intertwined.
I'm more inclined to say that that's what it is. I don't know if there's maybe we'll see when we get there.
But then there's dance too. It's
right.
Zumba, insanity, and yoga all in one.
As this article explains, it's a physically demanding sweat sesh, approachable for all levels. You'll begin where you are and grow at your own pace. Explosive movements, quick pace, killer ab sequences, and lots of upbeat music. Sign me up. Oh, wait, we did. And I'm not saying that because I'm intimidated. I'm actually, this has got me really curious because I've never taken a yoga class and I want to take yoga classes. Yoga and spin are the two things that I feel like so far that I've really wanted to incorporate into my life. Mm-hmm. And at least once a month or something like that. And so, obviously, I don't think that this is your traditional yoga class, which is what
I was going to say. Yeah, it looks a little different to me.
I've
taken a lot of yoga classes,
and that's fine because that's what we're doing this for. We're learning different things. We're exploring different ways of doing maybe something that we didn't know. Like we talk about with powerlifting and bodybuilding, power building. Mm-hmm. We can max it up, and so maybe that's what this is.
I think there could be valid concerns over whether or not yoga is appropriate for everyone's goals, and that's possibly where Buti Yoga came about because it's a higher heart rate version, let's say.
And I say this because we're going to Raw Renewal Yoga, and this is the specialty there. This is what they're known for, and that's fine. I think this makes it unique. I didn't know that
when I heard the name Raw Renewal Yoga. Like I knew of them.
That's what Megan.
I just assumed it was like every other yoga.
Yeah, this is what Megan had mentioned to me in my preliminary talks with her. Is that this was what makes
big draw?
Yep, what makes the Raw Renewal unique. Mm-hmm. And once again, challenge accepted.
For sure,
I'm all about this.
When I heard the name Buti, I was like, I'm gonna be great because I got some junk in the trunk. Bring it on. Where I shine. Glute work. But then I found out that Buti wasn't spelled the way I thought it was. So now I'm lost. If it's flexibility, then I might be shot.
Lots of ab work.
Okay.
So it's designed to activate all of the abdominals.
The abdominables?
The abdominables. It's been a long day.
The abdominable snowman?
The abdominables. The abdominal muscle groups. The abdominables.
It
I didn't make that up. That's a thing.
I'm trying to remember the Dwight Schrute right now, where he's got the exercise ball.
Yeah.
It's like it works your whole core, your back core, your front core, or maybe that's Michael Scott.
Yeah, I think it might have been Michael. So this also focuses on removing obstacles to your first and second chakras.
Ooh, okay.
There you go. Resulting in tight hips and closed minds. This, and I say, because I sound stupid. Buti Yoga follows the lead of many cultures such as Native American and African tribes that have dance rituals using hip and pelvic spiraling. Mm-hmm. So in Buti, you sweat with intention, seeking both physical and emotional benefits.
All right, I'm ready to.
The tips,
ready to
the hot tips here.
Get sick abs.
So some hot tips and what we should be expecting: wear yoga clothes and prepare to sweat a lot. Drink water. Which, you know me,
I don't know what yoga clothes are, so I'm going to wear my traditional basketball shorts and sleeveless t-shirt. That's what I wear for everything.
I'll probably wear something similar. And, yeah, that is our...
Or I'll wear my Speedo.
So you're going to wear Speedo. I'm going to not wear a Speedo. That's our expectations for the class. I don't know how many
people are going to give me dollar bills, but it better be a lot.
Yeah. Wow. This is not making it into the final. All right, so that is I know, right? That is what Buti Yoga is. What we expect.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I expect.
Here's I'm going to say something since we're talking about Buti Yoga. You guys need to Google it right now. Anyone listening? Unless you're driving, Google Buti Yoga, because what we described isn't going to tell you what
it's
really
not doing
is.
it justice. No,
you got to see it.
It's especially the first video that you watch, which Dan and I did right before we started talking about this.
That's when I learned what it was.
I just learned about what Buti Yoga is, and outside of that,
how did I sign up for a class that I didn't know what it was that I was signing up for?
Because this is the life
That's how
we're
we
living.
do it. We do it for you guys.
We're trying to be heroes so that you guys can be heroes. HeroFit podcast.
Put on our brave pants.
Self plug.
And we go out there.
Self-serving plugs. So
or put on our brave Speedos.
That's what we expect. That video that we'll link to, perhaps. Maybe we'll create our own video. We'll see. It's not. I have no idea.
Give the people what they want to see, Nick.
Yeah, that's right.
You doing Buti Yoga?
I guess that also kind of explained the benefits of this Buti Yoga. Side benefits.
I guess it's
side benefits outside of lots of core work.
Core flexibility. I would assume
the chakras,
cardio. Yeah, chakra healing is an interesting one.
Tell me more about that.
I have to come up with some questions on that.
We'll definitely.
I mean, I know a little bit about. It's like Eastern medicine. You got the chakras.
We'll definitely be asking Megan about
different
this.
Whatever, like units of what energy? I'm not really sure what. She's gonna have to tell me.
I guess because I've never taken
body.
I've never taken a yoga class. I don't know the basics. So I wouldn't say this is going to be an advanced class by any means necessary. But it also has things that I've never done in it, yoga specifically.
Why start with regular yoga when you can go right to
Buti Yoga, baby? Yeah. Because we're just two wild and crazy guys, you know. Benefits: sweating, chakras, dancing ish,
and I'm assuming
flexibility,
having a great time, because
having a good time.
This is the
girls in the videos were having a good time.
Yeah, and it looked like it's high energy. You got that community, you know. You see the same people at the class. You get to know everybody. Mm-hmm. You're all getting together and having a blast and sweating and creating a lot of humidity in the room, like we had at Biker Bar.
That's true. Yeah, I especially during the winter time, I can imagine this room is definitely going to be
a little steamy.
It'll
be real steamy when I walk in there with my Speedo.
Wow. All right, well, I guess that's it. That's all we got. I mean, a lot of it was answered in the what is. This is just something we're gonna have to go into. Like, there's not as much we can talk about probably in advance. Right.
No idea what we're talking about.
It's something I'd never heard of before.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that
trendy.
Possibly,
how's Buffalo up on the trends all of a sudden?
Possibly trendy. Definitely something that some Hollywood celeb decided to start promoting. But outside of that, I'm sure it's going to be, I think it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to this because I think it's going to be fun. Let's get it done. And I think Megan's going to be a great interview as well. So look forward to that. And that will be next.
Let's go.
HeroFit Podcast. We sit down with Megan Castlevetere. She's the owner of Raw Renewal Yoga, a yoga studio here in Buffalo, New York. Hello, Megan.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm great. I'm so good.
You just got done doing a class.
I did, yeah.
So we appreciate you taking your time out of the day to interview with us. And we took a Buti flow yoga class with you. And we'll be touching upon that a little bit later. That was lots of fun. Took about a week ago. And so it's still fresh in my mind, anyways, about what it was. We'll see if Dan still remembers everything.
Yeah.
I got it locked down. We're gonna have to cut that out. I remember some stuffs.
It's coming in, Dan. Coming in strong. So yeah, Megan, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? What kind of got you started into fitness world, and kind of give us a little bit of a background.
Yeah, so I grew up a dancer, started dancing when I was 4, and kind of the everyday little girl going to dance class. So I started out there, but I ended up getting into gymnastics as well when I turned 8, I believe, and started competing pretty heavily like as soon as I started. So growing up, I was really into gymnastics, competed up until my senior year of high school when I got hurt. Had knee surgery.
What, ACL?
No, not even. It was a meniscus tear and a patella subluxation, which was pretty fun. But getting back into gymnastics.
Was it really fun?
Oh.
It sounded sarcastic. Maybe.
Yeah, for sure.
Just needed to clarify.
I forget. People can't see my face. But yeah, it definitely kind of derailed where I was going in gymnastics, but it actually pushed me more into dance. It was easier to get back into dance. There was less pounding on my joints in a dance class than there was in gymnastics. So I ended up
really interesting.
Yeah. So I started dancing a little bit more. Ended up becoming a dance major at UB.
Ooh.
I was there for dance performance. Loved every second of it. Really kind of told my dad I was going to go to law school, but really I was the dance major.
Lie.
It was awesome. But yeah, so
how long did it take for them to find out?
Oh yeah, I think every year when he was like, "So, you picking up another major yet?" I said, "No." I'm good. I'm good with dance. I love it.
I had a friend who graduated with a degree, and his parents were shocked when they found out what the degree was in after 4 years.
Exactly, right? But I mean, my dad was always very supportive. Everybody in my family was always very supportive of
so they knew
what I was doing. Yeah. And I think they know that I've always kind of marched to the beat of my own drums, so it wasn't super surprising to them. But I kept going with it. I loved every second of it. I took in as much as I could. And then from there, I ended up going out to Chicago and training there for a little bit. I ended up working on cruise ships, dancing on ships. Loved it.
That left Chicago?
No. So we were in the Caribbean, Mediterranean. We were all over the place. Yeah, so it was awesome. I don't think a Great Lakes cruise would be as exciting. I don't think I would have stayed for 3 years. But I did that. Yeah. So in between my cruise ship contract,
and everything.
I'm just imagining somebody doing the Great Lakes and just on a boat.
And a big enough boat to have some entertainment.
Yeah. And then see them go through the locks.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
All right, so it was a real cruise.
Yes, it was. So I did that. In between my contracts, I would have like 3 months off, 4 months off, something like that. So my cross training, I started getting into yoga. But I think from my gymnastics background, I love doing things like CrossFit or heavy lifting. I actually got into, I don't know.
Heavy lifting?
Yeah, I don't know where
lifting?
that happened now because I haven't lifted more than 3 or 5 pounds in a long time. Yeah. So I was doing that in between my cruise ship contracts. I loved it. And then I started taking yoga classes and totally fell in love with it. It really reminded me a lot of dance, but I was working a little bit more in true alignment with my body. So it was really healing my body from dance, which, yes, there's alignment and technique in it, but it's still just not natural for your body to be contorting into these shapes that just look really cool. So using yoga as that cross-training method really, really helped my body. And I just fell in love with it. So after I finished on my ships, I came back to Buffalo and just got more and more into it. I was teaching dance. I ended up getting certified in ultra bar, was teaching bar classes, ended up working at a local place that was awesome, and just they let me really.
You can name it.
Can I say?
Like.
Yeah, I worked at Biker Bar for years, and they really let me.
We're familiar with them.
Yeah, I know you guys are. So I was really happy with how they let me teach my classes. They really let me kind of grow into my own instructor and really create my own classes and really, challenge myself to come up with, fun, interesting ways for people to do these workouts that weren't so, just give my own little flavor.
That seems to be their thing. And everyone's got autonomy as instructors to.
Yes, absolutely. And I loved it. And then from there, it would just kind of pushed me to go get more education and more knowledge in what I was doing and keep going from there. So, I started teaching TRX classes there. I loved that. It was all body weight. So it was something that was just right up my alley, especially as a gymnast. And so I loved it. And I ended up doing my first yoga training in 2014. I went to Baptiste Power Yoga, level 1. Loved it while I was there. It was 8 days in Sedona, Arizona. It was absolutely beautiful. And it was definitely an experience that it was awesome. It was just something that it's kind of a just incredible experience to be there and be doing that in that setting with Baron Baptiste, who created the that method of yoga. So that was really cool. I came back, I started teaching yoga in very small groups or private in-home yoga sessions, things like that. Started teaching a little bit at Biker Bar as well with yoga. But I loved it, but I still felt like there was something missing. And then I found Buti Yoga. And that is what just like totally got me. Totally got me.
Found your passion.
Yeah.
Booty.
No.
Okay.
No, so it sounds like that, but it is not. Buti, Buti, Buti Yoga is
I knew that actually. I just
yeah. So it's an Indian Marathi word, and it means a cure that has been hidden or kept a secret. And really, what that's playing on is So it's that everybody has this cure. Everybody has what they're looking for already within them. You just have to unearth it. You just have to dig it out. You have to do the work to get it out of you, and just know that it's always there. You just got to dig it out.
So that's quite the transition. Starting from dance. And why didn't you follow through with dance?
It's a very competitive world. Very competitive.
What type of dancing were you most passionate with?
I loved doing so much. That was the greatest thing about the program at UB. Actually, they have a very well-rounded program. So we do just about anything. I mean, and even when I was dancing on cruise ships, I was doing point, like on my toe ballet work. I was doing lira hoops. So we were hanging from a ceiling, spinning from a hula hoop, like that kind of thing. We were doing African tribal dance. We were doing showgirl, walking across the stage with big feathers on our heads. So, I mean, we were really
some Rockettes.
We were, like Rockette style stuff, showgirl style stuff,
nice.
Ballroom dancing, just anything that you could think of. We were doing and that we were performing. So I really just, I loved it.
Dance is dance. Yeah.
Dance is dance. Yeah. But it was great. And I kept going. Instead of performing, I transitioned into teaching dance to kids. Like I started them at 3 years old, was teaching 3 to 18-year-olds. And I loved every second of that.
They're not all in the same class, are they?
No.
Though I think we could be in a 3-year-old class.
I know. I'd be at that talent level.
Yeah. No, it was great. But yeah, I was doing that up until I opened the yoga studio. I was teaching every day at night, teaching at a dance studio for 6 days a week. At night, during the day, I was, teaching yoga, bar, TRX, fitness, things during the day.
So I didn't realize that dance would take a toll, like that much of a toll on your body, the way you kind of alluded to.
Yeah.
So you said that yoga kind of brought you back into alignment or balance.
Yes, for sure. Even now, I've had actually 3 knee surgeries. Total, just cleaning out some meniscus, cleaning out that cartilage.
Cleaning out that
just
cartilage.
cleaning it out, just taking it right out.
Had my ankle cleaned out.
Who
like,
needs who needs any cushion between your bones?
That's what the doctors even say. They say they're cleaning it out.
Okay. I mean, look at John Elway. He's still
Great.
good. Yeah. He's got nothing in between his knees. Or
It's
anything.
totally fine.
What does that mean?
Yeah. So I've had a few knee surgeries, so my knees just suck. They're just not great, and it's something that I've had to really work through. And dancing is one thing. Like I said, like our proper dance alignment is just not really proper human anatomy alignment. It's what will look the most beautiful. It's what will look the most stunning when you're on stage. But it's not necessarily the most anatomically correct alignment for a human body. So now that I'm working more towards that, less of what looks really cool, it has helped my body tremendously. And that's actually one of the biggest lessons that I learned in yoga, was just to not compete with the person next to you. If their leg goes higher, that is just fine. Let their leg go higher than mine. That is cool.
There's no competition.
Exactly, which was huge for me coming from
lesson.
it's a huge lesson to learn, and it's coming from a very competitive dance world where you walk into an audition and they look at you and they're like, yeah, nope. And you're like, I didn't even dance yet. So it's
you were just on your looks alone. You were tossed, huh?
Yeah. So it
Some
was
shenanigans.
It was a big.
Reminds
big
me of Black Swan. Like, so how realistic that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was never. Ballet is a different world. I was more in a commercial dance ballet.
But even then, like your body type and all that stuff. I mean,
much.
Well, weren't they real? They're real serious about like the Rockettes too.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, you walk into a Rockettes audition, the first thing they do is measure you. If you're, half an inch shorter than what they're looking for.
Because they want almost a symmetry, essentially.
Exactly. Yeah. Or, a lot of it doesn't necessarily, they're not trying to say you're too big or you're too small.
Right.
It's really, what costume do we have that you need to fit into, and we don't have time to alter it. So
because they're changing in and out of
right.
things. Yeah.
So it could be anything, but it's
same
does a number.
I would say even like I don't know what type of cruise or what the cruise was, but like the Disney cruises, like those princesses have to fit into, or any costume really, but
exactly.
Like yeah.
And you might need the right hair color.
And you might need
be
the
the right
hair
princess.
color.
That is absolutely true. Like, it seems ridiculous, but it is so true. So getting out of that crazy world of competition and that like where nitpickiness where they're picking you apart. Now I go into a yoga class, and the first couple of months of me taking a yoga class, I was killing myself. I was like, my leg can go so high. I can do a handstand all day long. I'm going to do it. Like, I don't care how tired I am. I'm going to do it. And then slowly but surely, you just kind of realize you're there for a different reason. Yes, you're there to push yourself, but there are other days where you just need to
just shake it off.
Shake it off.
Take
it easy. Relax a little bit. Nourish your body a little bit more with that movement instead of really, really pushing.
And people were telling you that you're okay as you are?
Yes, that's exactly
weird.
it. I know, right?
So you kind of getting back. So you did bar, TRX, and that's when you kind of worked your way into yoga. Now, what's the difference between? I've always just talk about this. Let's go right to the beginning. The root question is, what is yoga, and how do you define it?
So yoga, the definition of yoga is to yoke or to unite. So it's bringing
Didn't know that.
Yeah, your breath and your body, bringing that all together. So it's really when you think somebody says mind, body, soul, or mind, body, spirit, it really is just bringing all of that in together. So you're really integrating every aspect of your being all into what you're doing. Now, we're focusing mostly in classes on the physical aspect of yoga, the asanas, your postures. But
these big words.
I know, right? I know. Don't worry, I'll break it down for you.
Thanks.
No, it's you're using these asanas. So those are your postures, the poses that you're doing in class. But it's a very small part of yoga. There are, meditation, ethical practices, just be a decent human being. Like, That's part of yoga as well. So when you think of, I'm a yogi, but if you just go to class,
it's more than just a class or just a fitness class, the way other areas of this world can be.
Exactly.
And I don't know how to exactly say it. Not a cult, but
no, definitely not. But it's definitely
it's a culture. I mean, it's a different type of culture.
There
it
you
is.
Go.
Yeah.
But you
tribe.
You go into class. Yes, we love the word tribe. Kind of getting everybody together.
So do I.
Pulling it
together. All right,
I
can use that.
Yeah. So we, obviously in classes you're focused in on the postures, on those poses, but there's more
asanas.
Yes,
wow,
asanas. There
Quick
you
learner.
go.
Yep.
Yes. So once you get that, then you can start to get into the moving meditation while you're practicing. Something that we do with Buti that's a little bit different than what you might be taking in a more traditional class is that we use music. When a person hears music, they want to dance, they want to move. Like if you played music and a baby was around, they're gonna move, they're gonna bop around, they're gonna whatever it is.
So more natural instincts.
Yeah. Get back to what your body naturally wants to do and move the way your body is meant to move in all planes of motion, not front, back, side to side. You're really meant to move in all different ways, twisting, moving. Doing that with music just helps you get out of your head a little bit more and into your body. So focusing in on what your body's doing and why it's doing it, and moving. Here we go. You guys are at a yoga studio.
I'm gonna
Here
get
we
mind
go.
blown.
Mm-hmm.
You're moving stagnant energy around in your body that you don't realize is just like stuck in different parts of your body. So that's really what you're doing. That's why we do certain poses in certain sequences and things like that. So, there's a lot to it.
Oh. So your first introduction to yoga was power yoga?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's that about?
So it's a vinyasa flow class. It's moving quickly. It's very challenging. Usually the room is set to anywhere between 85, 95 degrees. I loved it. We were moving quickly through poses and it kind of reminded me of a dance. It was very challenging. You walk out of there just dripping in sweat. You put the physical work in for that class.
Mm-hmm.
And I did. I really, really loved it. And then
was it something you really caught, like you were pretty, I guess I should say, was something that you could easily do?
Physically, yes. But like I said, I grew up as a dancer. I grew up as a gymnast. So when people are really, working towards getting a headstand or a handstand or something like that, that was something that I could already
mastered
do.
in a sense, yeah.
So I kind of joke with some of the people here and say, if I can do something pretty easily, and they're like, "Oh, you make it look so easy." I kind of make a joke and say, "Well, I'm cheating. I've been doing it since I was 3 or since I was 4." So if you never stop doing that and you started doing it then, like it kind of all falls into place. But there are other things that I have to work towards that, different flexibility things or different strength elements that just don't come naturally to me. And everybody has those strengths and weaknesses, and you play off of them just like anything else. So
real quick, what's kind of the difference between, as we get into about Buti Yoga, but the difference between you learning the Baptiste method to now learning Buti? What was the kind of a difference there?
Yeah. So, Buti Yoga really takes power yoga as a base. It uses that flow as its base, but we're adding in plyometrics and cardio. So you're jumping, you're moving. We're also adding in primal movement and tribal dance. We're not learning choreography, but we're still just, like I said before, we're really just moving your body in the way that it wants to move, the way that it was made to move. Adding all of that in there, we also use a spiral structure technique, which is spiraling the body, using your body as a cylinder, the way that it really is built. The cylinder as your torso, pelvic floor on the bottom, diaphragm on top, and moving your body in that way.
That was very new to me when
we
found out about Buti Yoga, that you'd actually be jumping around and getting cardio, plyo kind of workout in as well.
Absolutely.
Because I had only taken traditional yoga classes in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you just kind of felt like Buti was what was meant for you then? for as far as you were
Absolutely.
teaching? I mean, I doubt anybody else is doing it, even in the Western New York area, right?
We do. There are a few other instructors
really?
in the area that are doing it. Yeah, before I went to New York for my first training, actually while I was in New York for my first training, I said I was from Buffalo, and somebody said, "Oh, there's somebody, I think they're around Niagara Falls, and her name is Erin." So they were like, "You got to get in touch with her." So she had been practicing Buti for a couple of years.
Oh, wow.
And I just didn't know it. So we ended up, as soon as I got back, I immediately got in touch with her, and we started talking, and it was awesome. It was just great to have somebody else in the area that was doing it. And then once I started teaching, it was always kind of fun to call each other and be like, "Oh, what's going on? What do you need? How is this? How was class?" So that was always really, really wonderful. And then after that, I started doing some free classes in the area, just kind of doing it to teach and promote and things like that. And then when I opened up the studio, I had a couple of really close friends that had fallen in love with it as well. Two of them were dancers, and one of them was a gymnast. And they just they fell in love with it the same way I did. And so I actually held a certification here. I brought a master trainer to the studio to do the certification. So we had about 20 people here.
Wow.
But you'll find that people will go to yoga trainings and yoga certifications, whatever you want to call it. Some people go to them just for the knowledge and just for the experience, not necessarily to teach. So there were a lot of,
It's interesting to know.
Yeah. And whether you're teaching it or whether you just want to know a little bit more about what you're doing and you really love what you're doing and you want to know more about it. So it's not unheard of for that to happen, for, to have 10, 12 people out of 20 who come just for the experience and just to learn and get deeper knowledge of what they're doing. And then, have 8 people who really stick around and really begin teaching it. But yeah, so
I'd be interested in something like that, because I like to just get immersed in stuff.
Exactly.
Like,
that's exactly
2
it.
days, all out, everything.
And go in, and just forget about everything else, really just get to it. So yeah. But there's, like I said, there are a couple other instructors. One of the girls that teaches here, she also does her own thing out in Orchard Park. She rents out a space there and teaches a couple days a week. At Shine Yoga, they do a class, I believe it's every third Friday of the month. They do a Buti Yoga class there. There's a couple of people out in a little bit further out from here, but yeah.
My mind's blown, because I had never even heard of it.
Well, it's definitely,
never heard the term.
Yeah, it's still getting out there, still working on, getting everybody into a Buti Yoga class.
I mean, you might not know this answer, but how many different types of yoga are there?
Oh my gosh. It's,
and why is it so? I mean, it's not,
why are there so many?
Yeah, why are there so many? Yeah.
It could be not necessarily different yoga lineages, but really everybody can kind of take it in their own way. And if there are different methods, or there are different class sequencing or different class structures and things like that. And everybody can kind of, it's yoga, but it's also a business. So people that are creating these methods, let's take Baron Baptiste. He does his method and teaches his way of doing things, but he had his teachers before that, and he kind of melded things together and kind of did his own thing to create his Journey into Power sequence. And that was, but then there's also Busy Gold, who started Buti Yoga, who was teaching hot yoga or, Bikram yoga. And kind of worked her way from there and, added in all of her influences to create her method of doing things. So really,
sometimes it's just somebody creating something as a play off of what they like, and maybe a mixture of what they like in yoga. And air quotes, no one can see that, but yeah, of what they like in yoga, or a specific maybe type of yoga, like you said, the Baptiste Power.
Right.
Yoga, right. And so Buti, they come up with the name, and then they're just this is the thing.
I don't want to say it's a play off of what they do, but it's something that, they obviously they're not just oh, I'm going to do this and just do it and throw a name on it. Obviously there's research and reasons for what they're doing. And obviously the knowledge that they need to know before doing something like that. They have to just
fair enough
be completely immersed in it. before they can do that.
You may not know the exact answer to this, but I'm curious, how old is yoga as a practice?
Oh, thousands
of years, right?
old. Yes. Yes.
And then, so when you look at it from that standpoint, are there also different types of traditional yoga?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So I mean, when you go, if you want to really get into it and you say traditional yoga, I would not be talking to you at all, because it was meant for men. You know, like it was a men only. Women did not do yoga. It was for men. That was it. So, I mean, if you want to get that traditional, we can get that traditional, but it's so.
Well, it was good talking to you.
Yeah, it was great to talk to you. But on that note,
does it relate to martial arts in any way?
I have not been introduced to that, but I would not be surprised if there were people
neither.
that.
That's why
I would think
I wouldn't be surprised, but I have no idea.
It's originated in India, right? So I would imagine that they have like some kind of.
There's got to be at least some crossover.
Yeah, crossover.
I would imagine, but I think there's probably got to be someone who, like, I started in dance and moved into yoga.
Right.
I'm sure there's somebody who started in martial arts and moved into yoga, or the other way around, started in yoga.
Yeah, I
and
mean,
moved
they
into
both have
martial
their meditative like.
Yeah, absolutely.
I did Tai Chi for a little while, and that was like supposedly a hybrid.
Yeah,
because it was like a martial arts, but it felt more like a meditative yoga.
I don't know too much
when
about
I was
it,
actually doing it. You know,
you're moving energy around, correct? Yeah. So I mean, there's an energetic piece to it.
Slowly, very slow, like controlled movements, but trying to flow it also.
Yeah. So I'm sure there's got to be
kind of bizarre.
Yeah.
To try it, like you have to be. It's probably that mind body connection that's really important for that.
Oh, absolutely.
So, Dan and I, when we first started talking to you, we said we wanted to take a class, and this goes into our first part of our segment here. But so we thought we were taking a Buti Yoga class, and that could have been a misconception. I remember you were like, "Oh, I specialize in Buti Yoga," and we were like, "Oh yeah, we'll take that." And I think maybe just because of the day I wasn't looking, I don't remember. It was.
I'll be honest. I thought you were a little nervous after you read the description, so you came to the Buti Flow.
So we ended up So Dan and I ended up going to the Buti Flow class. Totally different than Buti Yoga, which obviously because it's two different names. But so we were, when we did the pre-show to this, we were like, oh man, this is very kind of Zumba-esque. We just see all these women and they look like they're just sweating and just throwing their bodies all around. It's just
this looks like Zumba, insanity, and yoga. That's
yeah.
Based on a YouTube clip.
Yeah. We're looking at the clip and we're like, wow, that's this is gonna be crazy. And so so that was what our expectation was. And then when we get here, we're like, oh, taking Buti Flow. Well, we didn't know that, but we're like, it wasn't that. There's only a couple of us, and we're just kind of going through and
that was your first yoga class ever.
My first yoga class ever.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to for a while take a yoga class. I thought maybe if anything I'd want to take like a hot yoga, it's a Vikram yoga, something like along those lines. But I was like, I'm just gonna take a yoga.
The only
class.
Vikram I know is from The Office. So
is that a thing? I don't know. Who knows? I just say things. Sometimes.
He was a great salesperson.
Was he? Yeah.
Sold those diet pills.
That's right. So yeah, so
Vikram must be a weight loss.
Maybe. I thought it was.
I'm just
being
an idiot.
Yeah, that's fine.
I have taken hot yoga, but I don't know what it was called.
Yeah, so Bikram yoga. Bikram is
Bikram,
style,
not Vikram.
I don't know.
It's a style. That's like when people, when people say like hot yoga class, that's it's 104 degrees, 105 degrees in the room. That's what it is. Yeah.
I loved hot yoga. I signed up for it just to escape the winter cold.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea when it's 10 degrees out.
But yeah,
back to you, Nick.
Yeah.
Back to me.
What did you guys think of the Buti Flow
rudely
class?
Interrupted. No.
I want to know what Nick thought of his first yoga class.
This was because of our expectations and that not being a thing. That was more in line to what I imagined yoga was. A little bit faster, I think, than what I've seen like through we
transitioned pretty quickly.
It seemed there was a lot more of that. I wanted to focus on being able to do my best because I'm not the most flexible. I know that for a fact, and I think I was still hurting from the dance class that we took the other day. Like the inside of my knees were still hurting. So I was like, I'm worried that like I'm going to stretch myself out of this. But no, I thought that you had showed us, these different types of, moves, and it wasn't like we were pushing like too hard. It was just kind of like do what you can and get the most out of it. And so that's what I focused on, doing as much as I could. But like I said, that was more aligned to what I thought a yoga class would be.
Yes. Yeah.
Without our video.
Yeah. Our booty flow class is definitely, we're still moving quickly through the transitions. We're still incorporating a little bit of spiraling in the class. But we focus a little bit more on stability and mobility in that class rather than the high intensity cardio burst that we would do in a regular Buti Yoga class. We don't take that, the high intensity cardio burst where we're doing high knees or things like that. So we kind of take that out where you guys can, it's kind of feel good after that class.
So for me, it was a pleasant surprise because I walked in and I had a stressful week, stressful day, and I was just like, well, if we were to referencing another podcast we did with Jordan, like if you would have taken my my heart rate or whatever, it probably would have been, you're not ready for a high intensity workout right now, like not the best thing for you to do.
Not good for you right now.
So I ended up leaving the class feeling amazing because it was like more calming and balanced. And
yeah, that's the other thing too. Yeah, definitely the calming aspect of it. I felt pretty chill about it. But it also made me like, I was like, all right, I'm not, this isn't going to be something I couldn't do. I could, as a beginner.
Yeah.
But it was way better than had I not done anything. Like it was what I needed. That day.
See, there are no
So it worked out well.
coincidences.
Yeah.
You came on the right
That's
day.
how yoga works.
Right?
That's right.
That's it.
Great mystery.
What is
That's
so,
right.
so on your little handout thing here? What is it says it's great for beginners or experienced bodhisattvas?
Bodhisattvas.
Wow. So what
a
is
bodhisattva is someone that lives the Buti Yoga lifestyle. So we've got I know it sounds a little ridiculous. I get it.
You got to recycle.
Yeah.
You got to recycle. That was awesome. That was good. No, I know I'm going to forget one now that I'm talking about it. But so there are 5 principles to Buti Yoga. One of them is true leaders don't create followers, they create more leaders. So it's
I respect that one right off the bat.
Right?
You led with a good one there.
I know. But it is really important.
You're going to become let's see. Bodhisattva.
A bodhisattva in no time. But yeah, that's one of we kind of touched on it with the other instructors that are in the area. It's something that Buti Yoga really, I don't want to say preaches, but Buti Yoga preaches that it's no one is your competition.
Everybody love everybody.
Everybody love everybody. There is enough to go around. If there is someone who is teaching Buti Yoga in the area, you are there to support them. You are there to help lift them up. You are there to help them build their tribe.
No rivals.
Right. Like why?
No
Growth
rivalry.
mindset, no scarcity.
Yes. And you know what? It's just
The more booties, the
Interesting.
better.
I thought everything was a zero-sum game.
yeah. So it's something that really attracted me to Buti Yoga is that it's like there's no cattiness.
I was gonna say this might be the only fitness. This one might be the only area in fitness that doesn't have like rivalries. Then, because
and
we're finding out there's lots of drama between different groups in these different other sections.
You know what? If there's drama between things, it's because you're attracting the drama. I don't know what else to say. But if you don't want to be involved in
CrossFit,
it,
you're on notice.
if you don't want to be involved in the drama, don't
Spinning,
be
you're
involved
on
in the
notice.
drama.
No.
Just kidding.
So,
Yoga's
yeah,
not about
yeah.
that.
Well, no, he's referencing from when we talked with Britt.
Well, just know
how there
that
was
like
traditional and non-traditional, and like
that's not the first time we've heard something about that. Though.
Yeah.
Where there are, it's more cutthroat, more competitive, and it seems in some of these other studios and places.
Where if you're more nurturing and not being competitive, everyone can benefit.
Yeah, that's
hopefully
that's a
the
superior.
Yeah, and I think I can kind
mindset.
of play on the whole like traditional versus non-traditional. Buti Yoga, I mean, we're blasting our music. We've got tribal beats blasting. Like, I mean, it is loud. We're moving. We're, you're making noise. You're hitting the ground. Like things like that.
Yeah.
We had some of that tribal music when we
Yeah,
took the class,
for the
right?
Buti Flow, yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
Where now, yeah, go ahead. You were saying.
Yeah, but that like, I mean, that's not, you might not get that at the yoga studio down the street or, you know, whatever it is. But so there, I mean, Buti Yoga has had people say things like, oh, that's not yoga. You're not doing yoga, whatever it is. And, you know, we just have to be able to, you know, either back it up if we need to back it up or just gracefully say, well, you know, we're going to keep doing what we do. But maybe, you know, maybe you'd like to come and try the class. You know, before you say something like that, maybe you might want to come and try the class, and please come try the class on me, and then we can talk about it and we'll go from there. But Buffalo is awesome. I was a little nervous about it, opening a studio that isn't necessarily the most traditional, and you know, we do have a bunch of styles of yoga in Buffalo, but everybody has been so welcoming and so encouraging. I've had teachers from other studios come and take class and just congratulate me or say, you know, this was awesome. This was so wonderful. And it's been really, really nice.
Everyone we've encountered at Raw Renewal has been awesome.
Yeah.
Teachers, the other, you know, patrons, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
And so
it's good energy.
Yeah. And so the thing that like Dan didn't experience, but I got to experience was the Buti Yoga class.
We didn't get to hear about the other principles.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Dan.
Yeah. So
I want to know the other.
Yeah. So give us three.
True leaders don't create followers. They create more leaders.
Mm-hmm.
We've got, well, now that I'm getting put on the spot.
Do you need a Google machine?
I know. I feel
We can Google it.
I feel like I do.
We can edit it out if needed.
Can you pull up my blog? I did a little blog on every single one of them.
We are not live.
We are not live at all. Yeah, this will be cut out in post.
Like, really?
I'll just put it like, oh yeah, I know exactly what I remember.
Yeah.
Let me rattle off all 5 for you.
But like, this seriously is totally just one of those things where I'm like put on the spot because
it's okay.
No, we're good.
Yeah,
but I want to know the other. I do want to know the other one.
Yes, tell us them all.
Oh yeah.
I'm not cutting this out.
Then you can talk about.
All right.
Your Buti Yoga experience.
We've got. You can only be as spiritual as you are grounded, which is one of my favorites. And I will tell you why.
Yeah, tell us more. Deep, that is another deep one.
Deep. So maybe
you're cutting me deep right now.
Right? Like you're like, what is that?
It's like I felt like I was ungrounded last month, and so apparently I wasn't very spiritual.
To bring yourself down. So really, what that means is you can really only be as spiritually enlightened as you are grounded. And when you say that, like. Even me sometimes I'm like, okay, what does it mean to be grounded?
Yeah, that's
what does it mean to be spiritual? Like,
now I'm criticizing. That, right? I'm criticizing myself.
People are tuning out. They're going, "This is too woo-woo for me."
Exactly. But hear me out. You can only be like, if you've ever met somebody that just seems like they are not living on this planet. Mm-hmm. They are up in the clouds. Nothing bothers them. Like, Like something makes you really mad, and I gotta know what it is because nothing bothers you.
That's a ticking time bomb, right there.
Right. So you have that person that is.
They haven't encountered their shadow.
Yeah. So you just have a person that's like maybe they're just like up, they're a little spiritual where nothing, you know, or they're like, well, I'm just going to manifest $10,000 because I'm closing my eyes and saying,
must be nice.
Yeah. So you need to, by grounding yourself, you need to live in this world, in this, like on this earth. You have a physical body on top of your physical or on top of your spiritual entity, whatever you imagine for yourself. Mm-hmm. You know, you have a physical body.
Even a materialist has to admit that there's energy that exists in this universe. Right?
Exactly. There's energy, but you also have your physical body, and that's what you live in, and that's your
consciousness remains a mystery, so
yeah, but like your physical body.
Trying to make the case for the atheists out there.
Oh, thank you, thank you. But there, you know, it's just tough when, you know, you have to be able to experience all emotion, and don't say, you know, nobody is, you know, perfect. No one is perfect, living this perfect life where they never get angry or they never get jealous or they never are embarrassed or whatever it is. Like, people live in a real life world. And if you're ignoring those emotions because you're just, well, I'm just going to, I'm very angry, but I'm just going to do this or whatever. You know, you just, you got to live
Not
in your
healthy.
life. You have to, it's experience.
You can't internalize
all
and
of life.
compartmentalize the
Right.
anger.
Disassociate.
Yeah. You don't want to do that. Like, just feel what you're feeling, and those emotions are supposed to be there, but just don't,
Let it go.
Yeah. And then let it go. No, feel the feeling and then let it go. You know,
There you go.
like
So
that. So,
Does this relate in any way to the trend of people doing outdoor yoga that I've seen more frequently, like on grass and on sand?
oh yeah.
Can
the
you get more
energy-
grounded by literally being on the ground?
Yeah, so there are different poses, different asanas that you can do that are more grounding. So kind of like pulling yourself back, settling yourself down into the ground, like kind of pulling yourself down there. But you also have like, here we go. There you have different energy points in your body and your chakras.
Knew
So
this
you're
was gonna come.
yeah,
That's why
I know,
I'm teasing it.
but it's so good. I just love
Yeah.
it. I do. I love it. But you have energy points in your body that have different vibrational energies and other
Good
points in your body.
vibrations.
Good vibrations. So there are different things. And like I said, that's why you move your
Okay.
body in certain ways.
I've heard some theories about, the earth giving off certain energies that your body needs
Absolutely.
to absorb, similar to the sun.
Exactly. Exactly. So it's just something
Could
you
be
have-
something
you
to
have
it. When people spend time in nature, they end up being happier.
Yeah. So it's something to think about. So that's, you can only be as spiritual as you're grounded.
Okay.
One of the other Buti Yoga core values is that the greatest gift you can give is unwavering friendship. And that is going along the lines
That's
of
sappy, but I
it's
respect it.
sappy, but here we go.
I might push back on this one.
Oh boy, here we go. I can't wait. But really what that's going towards is ethical practices. Okay, just be a decent human being.
Okay.
And if you're, and it goes back to, if you're talking to someone and just don't be fake. Be real with them.
Fair
That's
enough.
unwavering friendship. That's what that is. So it really is going to the ethical
It's almost
practices.
touch
So you can
on-
still have boundaries.
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
That doesn't mean that you need to be friends with everybody.
It still touches back on number one too, which is
Yeah.
like support and stuff
Right.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And our other, the other two are
Number 4. Yeah.
Yeah. These are not in order. To build the world that you want to live in. So if you're stuck where you are and you feel stuck, you have the power to change your life. Nobody else can change your life for you. You can't pay somebody to do it. You can't ask someone to do it. You are the
Get on
only
board with
person
this.
who can
Yeah,
build
I
the
respect
life that
that.
you want. Right. So you guys have to follow your passion or whatever it is to create the life that you want. That's how you can.
That's what we're
live
doing
that
right
way.
now.
Exactly. You guys have your passion and that's what you're doing. So that's exactly it. And our last one is, you can only lead others as far as you've led yourself. You have to do the work. You have to put the work into, you can only tell somebody so many times how to do something. But if you've never done it yourself,
Mm-hmm.
you can only
And
get so
you
far.
can't really tell anybody anything, in my opinion. People are only going to change themselves for the most part.
But
So like, you're providing a model.
Yeah.
That's probably that's the best way you can actually influence others, I think.
Right. Yeah. So it's just living the Bodhisattva life. Just trying my
Bodhisattva
best
life.
over here.
Bodhisattva.
Bodhisattva. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. All right. So getting back to what I was touching on earlier, your studio's involved in the Bar League Yoga.
Yes.
And so I was fortunate enough, one of my friends is in the league, and she said, "Oh, you should come tonight, because the last class of the session or what it was, and we're going to Raw Renewal." I said, "That's funny because I was just there last night," and I said, "I would love to come and I'll check it out." And she was worried that it was going to be Buti Yoga, so I will say to Jamal it was, and she was all worried about it. And she was like, I don't want to do all this like hard long, she had like what you were feeling, where long days, stress. And I will say, after the class, her first thing that she said to you was, "That was great."
Yes.
She really enjoyed it.
I was just gonna say,
She was-
she was nervous. She didn't show it because she was awesome.
because she enjoyed it. And so, stark difference from our flow class to the what you call the Buti Yoga, and a lot more. Well, I will say this. First off, there was like 40, 50 people in there. So, it was a lot tighter, you know, we'll if we can, we'll maybe show a picture of the studio itself, but tight
Check out
quarters.
HeroFitPodcast.com.
That's right. Little self promotion there. And
We have blog posts for every episode.
shameless
shameless
plugs.
plugs.
We'll recommend gear that you need and get that affiliate money.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
Maybe not. We don't have
yeah, we haven't got anything. We're working on it right now. But yeah, so it was tight quarters, but that was cool.
Yeah.
So that made it a lot warmer. I will say that I know you put the mic on, but your voice was drowned out some of the times because of the music.
I had some issues.
Loud.
I had some issues with the mic that night. Actually, my hair kept kind of flinging it off my face.
Oh, okay.
Normally that wouldn't happen.
And I would say, obviously, also, you know, because there's the amount of people different.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. So you would have maybe half, if not a third of the amount of people there.
Right.
And so you'd be able to see you personally. Because even I had a clear view of you in certain points, but I know other times there was
Right.
a lot of people in my vision, so I couldn't see what we were doing as someone who was taking it for the first time. A little bit tougher, but I would say it's still, even for a beginner like myself into the yoga world, still pretty easy class to be able to, I would say, be successful in and not feel like
Absolutely.
I couldn't accomplish a lot of the movements and whatnot.
Yeah, and unless you're signing up for an advanced yoga class, any studio that you go to around here, especially, you're going to find either a beginner levels class. Like if the studio thinks that you might need a beginner level class, they'll offer it. If not, the classes are all levels. Like you can go into a yoga studio and feel comfortable going in as a beginner. Buti Yoga is an all levels class. You have to be comfortable with taking your modifications or taking a rest when you need to rest. You know, as an instructor, I'm not going to, you know, turn around and tell the class, take a rest, grab water, take a break.
Right.
It just doesn't happen in a Buti Yoga class. Like you have to be aware of your body and just be comfortable enough with yourself to, you know, maybe you need to go into child's pose for a minute. Maybe you need to just take a second, wipe the sweat off your off your face and grab a sip of water, whatever it is. Like you might just need to do that. And if you're comfortable in doing that, then it's an all levels class. We break things down as we go. We're talking and cueing throughout the entire thing. So it really is all levels.
And yeah, you have to be comfortable doing that.
Yes. Yeah.
I get competitive even when I'm not supposed to be at a yoga class. But I have seen other people where they'll modify the movement or they'll stop, they'll take a break.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
It's one of my
teacher's not going to call them out or anything.
No,
So-
nobody's calling you out if you need to take a rest or whatever it is, or if you need to, you know, drop a knee in a lunge instead of lifting the back leg, whatever it is. You do what you need to do.
Meanwhile, I'm about to
Get
tear
what
a
you need.
hamstring trying to keep up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's exactly what we don't want.
Right. And you talked about that during some of the movements, was like, if you can't do this, because we would sit in like I think it was warrior
I'm not sure where you're.
warrior pose or something like that. We were sideways and
There's
then
3 warriors, right? Isn't
Yeah,
there?
there
warrior
are.
2 maybe,
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah, sure. So where we were sitting like that, and you're like, oh, if you can't have your, you know, can't keep your leg fully extended, you put your knees down. But you know,
and
I'm
our
just making
crescent lunge probably.
Yeah, so
High
it was so you made points to say that during both classes that I took,
Right.
you know, be mindful of what works for you and don't like he said, overextend for
Exactly.
because you have the competitive nature.
Yeah.
But
And it's one of my biggest things that I've learned just throughout my journey. I always feel a little like cliche saying that, but throughout my journey of fitness and dance, gymnastics, fitness, whatever I'm doing in the moment, it's just that you have to know when you can push your body and when you need to nourish your body, when you need to slow down a little bit, when you need to just stretch instead of push and push and push. Like there is this huge, like, I don't know why it's like a trend to be in beast mode at all times, and
Beast
be a
mode.
savage, whatever it is. But like, you know, when you're working out to feel better and to be healthy, that includes how your body feels the next morning. So if you're working out so hard every day that every morning you wake up and you can barely walk to the sink to brush your teeth, or if you can if you're just sore or your knees are achy or this or that or this or that, you just have all these like nagging things happening. Like why are you working out to be healthy if that's how you feel when you're doing it? So, and I'm not saying that doing those tough and incredibly difficult workouts or classes or whatever you love to do, maybe just the next day try something a little bit different that might be a little bit more gentle on your body, but just as beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something that I've really focused in on, especially in these last couple of years. I don't always practice what I preach when it comes to that.
Mm-hmm.
Right now I'm under 2 years. The studio is under 2 years old. So I'm like pushing and trying to do as much as I possibly can. But I mean,
and you're the hardest person to teach
exactly.
yourself.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just something I want people to know that, you know, if you're waking up every morning extremely sore, that doesn't necessarily mean that you were benefiting your body the day before. Maybe
could just be jacking up your
session.
cortisol way too high on a
Right.
chronic basis and
Exactly.
burning out
100%. So really just, you know,
and taking absolutely like just resting for 2 weeks might also be detrimental.
right.
So you're kind of talking about like an active
Balance.
recovery.
Exactly. Do an active recovery or, you know, whatever you need. Just listen to your body. Become intuitive with your own body. Like, know what you need. Like, don't be afraid to question what you need that day. Like, and I'm not saying like if you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, snooze, I'm not going to go work out. Oh, snooze, I'm just tired. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying, you know, you can skip everything, but just know that maybe one day you do need to drop your knee in a high lunge and make that a low lunge. Like maybe you need to do that, but maybe the next day you come in, you're like, nope, I'm killing it. I feel great. I'm awesome. So I'm going to keep the back leg up, whatever it is. But just really knowing your body. And that's something that comes with practice, and it's not going to happen overnight. But it's definitely something that I learned through yoga. 100%.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I mean, you don't you're you know, part of your philosophy about, you know, pushing yourself, but yeah, it's not important to kill yourself necessarily. Past the point of being able to, like I said, I think once you're introduced to different things like yoga, like for myself personally, and I was, all right, I'm doing this, and I there's things I want to work on, but yeah, you can't just all of a sudden put yourself in a position and expect success when you haven't put that yourself in that position before.
Right.
Definitely. Yeah, and I'll also say too, for people who are, you know, maybe listening and are saying, well, you know, I think the flow is more for me, or, you know, instead of just the Buti class, or I want, you know, a better workout, and does Buti satisfy that? I would say that maybe it was also because there was a lot more people in there, and so we were all, you know, but I got an immense sweat out of the Buti Yoga class. Oh yeah. Where when we took the flow, I got a good sweat in, but more of a it was just kind of, yeah, it was definitely more because I was doing these different types of stretches and moves, and so that was probably where it was for me, where we were doing those dances and everything else for the Buti class.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's different ways of moving your body, and it's, you know, it's all important. Move your body in as many ways as you possibly can. Get comfortable and strong in every position that you can. It's so important, just for, you know, you don't want to wake up at 60 and feel like you can't, you know, do your everyday life if you can't, you know, keep your everyday lifestyle because your lower back is tight or whatever it is. You can't extend your arms straight over your head. So it's just move your body in as many ways as possible.
And you do offer other classes.
Yeah.
So talk about some of those. Are you actually teaching them, or are the other people teaching them?
No, I teach almost all of the classes, not every single class that we offer, but all of the styles that we offer, I do teach. We do half-hour lunch break classes, which are really popular with the work crowd down here, so you can come in on your lunch break. But we do a HIIT style workout, which is, I call it kind of a yoga-based fitness class. They're Buti branded classes as well. So our Sculpt class and our Hot Core class. Sculpt is 40 seconds on of some kind of high intensity cardio or strength training and it's 20 seconds in a yoga pose to bring the heart rate down, and also to release the muscles that you're burning out throughout the class. So we do 4 rounds of 5 exercises with a minute in between, and it's just spiking the heart rate, burning out specific muscles and stretching them out. Those are really great classes, especially if you are nervous or intimidated to take a full-on yoga class, but you're used to going to the gym, you're used to doing something like that. You really get a chance to get yourself into a pose and hold it for 20 seconds for, at least 4 times throughout that class, throughout that half hour.
That's the sculpt class?
Yes, that's our sculpt class. So it's a good way to learn the poses and get comfortable with them for when you want to come in and take a full yoga class.
Conceptually, it makes a lot of sense to me as just like a good thing for you to do, because the HIIT training is, that I could argue that's a better way to do cardio than steady state, long sitting on the treadmill for a half hour, and then you're mixing in with the yoga poses, so you're
getting
calming
a nice stretch
and getting a stretch, and you're probably I'm sure it's designed so that you've got like agonist and antagonist muscle groups that are offsetting each other. So.
Yeah, and you're really focused in on how you can use your breath to control your heart rate, how you can start to slow your heart rate down by using nice, calming, deep breaths, like even though you're like after those 40 seconds, whatever it is. So it's, but yeah, so I love that sculpt class. It's a quick half hour in and out. We also do a version of that class where we're using bands, booty bands, we call it. So it's, we use the resistance band. I know you love it. I know.
Bands will make her dance.
That's right. So we have our booty bands class where we're using resistance bands, either, above the knees, below the knees, around the ankles, whatever it is, but focused more on, leg strength, hips, alignment. Knee alignment is
hips don't lie.
Yeah. So strengthening the hips and everything around it to make sure that you're staying strong for the rest of your life.
What class is that? That's
our booty bands class, but it's a similar format.
It's called, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
A similar format, 40 seconds on, 20 seconds off. We also do a hot core class, which is, going back to those modifications. It's this is like the most difficult class for a lot of people because we're wearing socks, you're in a plank, you're sliding your feet in and out. You're either on the balls of your feet or the tops of your feet, dragging them in. So if you've ever used sliders, it's similar to that. So you're using that drag as resistance.
Yeah.
So you're in a plank, tucking your knees into your chest one at a time or both, or taking it side to side, whatever it is. But that class, you can muscle your way through that class using your shoulders and your quads and your hip flexors. But if you really want the core workout that, is the class is designated for, sometimes actually taking the modification, you'll get more of a core workout. And no matter how strong you are, if you can hold, I don't care if you can hold a 20-minute plank. I don't know anyone personally who can do that. But I don't care if you can hold a 20-minute plank. You might not be using the correct muscles to drag the knees in. You might be gripping in your quads. You might be gripping in the hip flexors. You might be leaning too far forward and focused in on the shoulders instead of using your core to do it. So actually the modification of dropping your knees in the plank is going to get your abs working deeper and really focused in on that. So it's kind of funny. I always say I wish I had a new word for modification, because I don't want to say take the modification if you're not feeling your core doing the work.
Right.
I need a new word. If anybody comes up with one, let me know.
Adjustment.
Make
adjustment. Make it an adjustment. Yeah.
To take your knees down in a plank. It's so hard.
We'll figure it out.
It's so hard. Yeah, keep me posted.
I like how you brought that up, because most people that can hold a plank for 5 minutes, quote, you're not planking.
You're not in a true plank.
Yeah.
Right.
Challenge accepted.
All right. Here we go.
Right,
Set it up right now.
But
Rest
you
of the
can't do more than 45 seconds of a real plank.
Doing it right now. I'm already planking. You don't even realize.
Yeah. So we do.
But physical therapist taught me how to do a real plank, and I got humbled.
Yeah. So as a gymnast, when we were in that like plank position, there are my air quotes, a plank position, we're really like pressing down and rounding through our shoulders and lifting up and hollowing out the body. So I was doing that for I don't know how many years. So then once I started moving into fitness, I continued to do that plank, but now I'm working so hard on opening up through the shoulders, trying to plug the shoulders into your back all at the same time.
And I was told to be like kind of actively pulling, my abs and like kind of tucking my almost like trying to pull my legs and my head together or something.
Yeah, I always say either like your hips and ribs feel that connection, or pubic bone pulling up toward the sternum at all times. So you always have that contraction.
It's like active movement, not passive.
Yes. Yeah.
Child's play.
Yeah, so it's a good class.
We'll get on the IG doing it.
We'll do in my suit. I'm gonna do it right now.
Perfect.
Yep. And then Fit Flow is the other one, right?
Our Fit Flow class, we use a vinyasa class as our base, but we add in 3 to 5 pound weights. It just, you don't realize what 3 pound weights can do to you when you're extending your arms and holding poses and things like that. So like I said, I taught barre for years. So we add in some small isometric movements while you're holding yoga poses with the legs or moving through certain asanas, certain poses.
Yeah, I want to take them all.
Yeah,
I do. I actually now I kind of want to do the sculpt and maybe take the hot core.
Yeah, those are great classes. And they go by so fast. That half hour is over so quick.
Any plans on adding more classes?
So actually you have our old handout there, our new one, we added in a couple of classes there. So actually our booty bands class, which is not on that, is a newer class that we just added. And we also do a hot booty class. Oh man, my fiance's gonna love this because we teach hot booty on, I know, right? You can laugh, you can do it. Do it. Because he refuses to call it hot booty and he will only call it booty sweat. Wow. Just because it's funny. But so I'm surprised. Yeah, because it just made it better. I know. I'm terrified that I'm actually going to start calling it that or something. But no, we do our hot booty class on Sunday mornings. Because why wouldn't it be on a Sunday morning? Right. But we heat the room to 85 degrees. We take out the really intense high intensity spikes with the heart rate, just because when you are increasing the temperature of the room, we want a more gradual build in. It's not that bad at all. It really isn't. It's just it feels good.
Get 50 people in there in 85. Oh, yeah. We'll see how it is.
Yeah, but
people dropping.
It just
brother
feels
would be dying
good.
I would love that.
Oh, see, I'm hot at all times.
Yeah,
so walking into there, I'm like, yeah,
I am not.
Yeah. I feel like if it's 75, I'm like, ugh, get out.
But you know what? Walking into the 85-degree room, it actually does feel good when you walk in. I mean, if you're like me and you're like just hot all the time and you walk in, you're like, ugh, okay, whatever. And then you get used to it within a couple of minutes. Fair enough. You're not walking into a wall of heat. You're not walking. I mean, it just feels like you're outside on a summer day. Okay. But it's just nice to have a little external source heating you up, helping you get a little bit deeper into your poses, a little deeper stretch.
I've heard that hot yoga can be problematic for some people because then they overextend themselves because they can't tell what their limits are because they're too warmed up. But that would imply that being a little bit warmed up improves your performance.
Yeah, and I think there's something to be said about hot yoga really, allowing you to open up into different poses and things like that. But really a true practitioner, it's great for them because they know their body. They know when they're overextending. Mm-hmm. They know when they need to stabilize or engage different muscles so that doesn't happen. But that just comes with practice. It comes with doing it regularly and really tuning into your body and knowing what your body can handle. But I mean, in any yoga class, like if you have somebody that is, really flexible, or somebody that is, just they have hypermobile joints, like they have to be careful coming into a yoga class, especially, the general population, normally has to open their hips, like their hips are so tight. But if you get someone in that classroom that is hypermobile and their hips are super open and you're just further opening up their hips in class, like you need to know, as an instructor, you need to know when to tell someone, maybe you can try this. If you're already here, maybe you can try engaging these muscles while you're stretching, while you're doing these things. So they're staying safe in the classroom. But that's why the 85 degrees, it's just a nice
round number.
But does it actually
it just feel good? If
you're in a 70-degree room versus an 85-degree room, are you going to be able to, reach a little bit further?
It just
safely or no?
Yeah, like it just depends on you and your
Okay.
body and what you're doing that day. And the class structure itself is very similar, but like I said, we don't do the really intense spikes of the heart rate. But we do add an extra 15 minutes to that class that is dedicated to deeper stretches, deeper postures that we really wouldn't do in a regular Buti Yoga class when we're going. So, it gives us time to really explore what your body can do. And we clearly warm you up, with the heated room at 85, but also with the movement and get you prepped doing some more advanced things. So
Cool.
it's a good one.
So I'm listening and I'm thinking that some of these classes sound awesome and I might want to attend.
Yeah.
Talk to me about how would you alleviate some of my anxieties that I might have or concerns. I don't know how often you might encounter that, but
Yeah, absolutely. We have people that come in all the time that are like, oh, I haven't worked out in 5 years. I haven't done a single thing in 5 years, whatever it is. And, you just have to talk to the person and see what they're comfortable with. So if you want to come in and take a flow or a Buti flow class first, just because it's a little bit slower moving, you'll be able to, understand and pick things up a little bit easier. Start there. But if you're, if you're used to going to the gym, maybe you have a regular weightlifting routine and you've got pretty good body awareness and you have a pretty good idea of what your body is capable of, then look at the schedule, look at the classes and see what just like sounds fun, what sounds like something that you're comfortable with, or something that you are like, oh well, I feel like I could maybe do that, or just do something that you would feel comfortable with. Like, especially if you're normally going to a gym, maybe you do a boot camp. Maybe try the sculpt class. It's similar to what you would probably be doing in circuits anyway, with spiking the heart and bringing it down. And so doing something like that, but starting to incorporate those yoga poses on the rest will help get you prepped for a full yoga class, either a Buti flow or a flow class or a fit flow, whatever that is.
sounds like you get people from both spectrums. So
Oh yeah.
people that maybe haven't done much in their life or in a while, and athletes.
Yeah, I'll get athletes that come in that are like, oh man, I can't touch my toes, but I can really throw some weights around, but I can't touch my toes. So, and that's always the person that really says, oh, I can't do yoga. I can't come. I'm not flexible enough for yoga, but we always joke that's why.
kind of what I thought of. I mean, I won't lie. That's me. I can't touch my toes, but I can move some weights, and that's it.
Right.
Like, but I was always intrigued by the fact that I should take a yoga class. I just didn't know what yoga class to take, and so I mean, like, I'm definitely not sad or upset by taking both. I thought they were both had their I should say pros. For me personally, being able to do both.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, I've got people from all walks of life who come in, and there's a class for everybody. And if it's not here, I can help you find a spot in the city of Buffalo that can help you out.
And what are some of the physical benefits to yoga? Because I feel like we touched a lot on the mental and spiritual aspects, but
oh yeah,
if I'm a strong guy, I'm an athlete, and I come into your class, like, what can I expect to
yeah, well, if you're a strong guy, but you can't touch your toes, so that's the first thing. Mobility is huge. So especially if you're someone that, doesn't normally stretch or do anything like that, and is not, like we were talking about before, if you're not hypermobile and you're just not stretching like you probably know that you should. That's the mobility aspect is awesome. I've seen, one of our clients comes in a couple times a week. He plays hockey, and his just watching how he's improved, and he's coming twice a week. He comes twice a week to the same classes, and just watching how far he can step his foot up into a lunge, and then it like goes a little bit further, and how different poses that he's doing that are just look completely different from where he started a few months ago. So it's the mobility aspect of it, but also the strength. The strength in holding poses is huge. Like, if you're not used to holding static poses, it can do so much for you. If you're always used to moving, just being able to hold a pose and hold it and stay strong in that pose it's pretty difficult. But physically, you're just going to feel better with strength, mobility, stability. And like we said, we focus on Buti Yoga. It's a lot of really using your body in all planes of motion. So not just moving front and back and side to side. I've had people who are runners that, you know, they run and they spin and that's it. And then they come to me and they say, oh, well, I can't do the things that I love right now because, you know, I have this hip injury or this knee injury, whatever it is. And I said, okay, so what do you normally do? And they say, I run and I spin, but there's no other what other range of motion have you been working? So we work on that so they can eventually, you know, do the things that they love, but also incorporate some other ways of moving.
I can relate to that. I'm really good at going backwards and forwards.
Yeah.
But I don't work in the other planes, ranges
Yeah,
of motion as often.
You gotta do it. You do it everyday life. You do it in everyday life. So that's when it's like you hear about
unless you have a
somebody-
desk job.
Unless you have a desk job. But think about it like if you're pulling laundry out of a washing machine and twisting to put it in the dryer. Or you're reaching up to grab one thing out of a cupboard and then, you know, pulling it down here and pushing it into another cupboard. Whatever.
Life
it is.
has more than just two
Yeah.
axes.
Yes. And that's like you hear
Mind
people all
blown.
the time. You're like, no, I reached down to pick up a pen and threw out my back. You know, things like that. So
No thanks.
no, but it happens.
It
like
does.
it's,
I
it's
hear
so
ya, but
I mean,
yeah,
it
I
happens
don't-
and it happens
if
to the rest of us.
That's the wall I hit, you know, put me out of my misery. But yeah.
But it happens to
You
the
won't hit
best
the
of
wall
us
until you
for
do
real.
yoga. Become
That's
a
Booty Sattva.
Bodhisattva.
Yes.
I
Yes.
keep looking at the paper. It does not.
With
You
your-
do not say it like it's spelled.
With your various
Bodhisattva.
asanas.
Yeah, look at
Bodhisattva.
you. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we're going to be
Picking it
teaching
up.
class next week.
Yep. Come on in. We're putting you on the schedule.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. We guess we can start wrapping this up.
Yeah.
Get to our shotgun questions.
Well, I'm excited.
Yeah, I know.
Really, I'm
I'm
nervous.
glad that you're excited.
Are you ready?
I can feel the excitement. I'm ready for these answers.
Let's do it.
All right.
I'm terrified, actually.
No, you'll be all right. Everyone so far has survived. You'll survive. We'll see. We'll see if you keep the trend going on some of the answers. So
Ooh, okay.
Dan's
Well,
keeping a tally.
we won't reveal what the trend is.
Yeah,
Okay.
Dan's keeping a tally. So, shotgun question number 1.
Yes.
Your favorite cheat meal?
My favorite cheat meal?
Mhm.
Oh, pizza by far.
Wow, lots of pizza votes.
Or a donut. You put a donut in front of my face. Seriously,
I respect it.
like it's terrible. One time I ate 3 Paula's donuts in one sitting. It was terrible.
I
I felt horrible about
What
myself.
did you do? How did you survive?
You know what? I always say that.
You didn't get diabetes immediately.
Well, that's the thing. Like,
first
I
thing.
really wish I have this like stomach of steel, and I really wish that I didn't. Like, I wish I felt.
You wish you would've
I
got punished.
wish I felt like upset. Like,
Must
I
be
wish
nice
my
to have
stomach was
good
upset.
genetics.
So what's it like having a Tim Hortons across the street?
Oh, I don't.
Is it a test of willpower?
That's the
every
drug
day?
place.
No,
It's not
I
a
don't
real
go to
Tim
the Tim
Hortons.
Hortons. I
It's
don't go
not,
to the
okay.
Tim Hortons. No, but I
Definitely
am
not
right
getting
up
that
the
Tim
street.
Hortons money.
I'm up the street from
Not
Public
yet.
Espresso.
We'll get that Paula's money though.
Yeah, get Paula's. I can't. Yeah, Public Espresso though is up the
Public
street,
was
so I can't.
Public's pretty good.
That's tough.
We
It's-
went there
it's
after
dangerous
the
being so
class.
close.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
All right. Question number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite, I guess, well, we'll say either yoga exercise movement.
Oh, my favorite yoga pose or
Sure.
asana
The asana, your favorite, yes.
is Ardha Chandrasana.
That's a Havava?
Yeah, Ardha Chandrasana, half moon.
Sounds
it's
like
my
a
favorite.
salad dressing.
Okay.
That's so good. No, it's my favorite pose just because it's challenging. It's very challenging. It's on one leg. You're kind of tipped to the side. You're reaching one leg up or one leg out to the side. Your arm is reaching high. You're kind of stacking things up. It's difficult to do, but when you get stacked up and you're in the correct position and you're like, I've got it. You found your balance and it just feels so satisfying. It's so good. So that's my favorite.
Say it again.
yoga pose. Ardha Chandrasana, half moon.
Yeah, it's definitely salad dressing.
Might have to put a video on.
Yeah, we might have to.
Yeah.
We'll get you
Yeah.
before we go. We'll have
Good.
a video, me planking and you doing the harasha.
That's exactly it. Very good.
Nailed it. All right, number 3. If you could change one thing about your, I guess we'll call it your yoga career, what would it be?
Starting it sooner.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wish I started it sooner and
Like college, or like, I mean, because I guess that's not really a thing.
you know what?
but-
It's something, and I mean it's more of the mental then, and spiritual, emotional, like that benefit. I wish I had that when I was younger. Maybe some people might find this hard to believe, but others may not. I was super, I was
deep here.
I was a snappy person forever.
Really?
Like I had the worst temper. And it was just because I was too reactive to things instead of,
Contemplative.
I was very reactive. So if something happened, I would just spit it out right after, and now it's more of now I don't have to think too hard about it, but I can actually respond to something instead of react to it. But I wish I had that knowledge when I was younger. So now when I have somebody that comes in and they're in college or they're like 18 or something like that, I'm like, you're so lucky that you're here right now. You're so lucky that you're experiencing this and kind of.
There were some college kids that night.
Yeah, absolutely.
From Buff State. Yeah.
It's awesome, and it's really great to see that yoga is kind of a trendy thing right now, being spiritual or that kind of thing. It's kind of a trendy thing, which things could be worse. If it's cool to be. It's cool to meditate. It's cool to do those things now. So it's cool because it's beneficial and it's awesome. It's really cool.
Sidebar question, a question I actually wanted to ask you earlier. How many classes can you teach in a row before you're like, I'm wiped?
Oh man. Like today I taught 3 classes in a row before you guys got here. But I had 2 other privates earlier today and then another class earlier today. So Mondays are my tough day. Mondays are my long day. And like I said.
Sounds like 6 classes.
Like I said, I am not always one to practice what I preach just yet because I'm still pushing my business,
Fair enough.
I'll get there someday.
Well, this might help.
Yeah,
this might
help. We can reduce the hustle.
And also I just truly love what I do, and no matter how tired I am, if I walk into a classroom and we get started, as soon as we start, the energy in the room, you can just pick up on it, and you just being sore or tired or whatever it is just kind of goes away so fast as soon as you start the class. I just really, really love what I do.
Cool.
So,
if you have that, it's probably easier to get to that state where you don't get as tired because you really appreciate and love what's happening.
Yeah, if I hated it, I wouldn't be able to do that.
Siri wanted to
Siri jumping in
answer a question I asked apparently.
Fucking Siri. You know who doesn't do that? Google. Well, that's just me. Anyways, all right, next question.
Hey Siri, what do you think of Nick's comment?
It's your opinion that counts.
It's fucking right.
All right. Siri agrees.
All right.
I got the British male Siri, by the way.
Yeah,
British male Siri, yeah.
Q, or is that what it?
Just they have a different name.
Yeah, it's Q.
Oh, cute.
Oh, from
James
the Bond. James Bond. No, I get it, yeah.
I like to pretend that I'm James Bond when I'm driving here.
God.
And just, my directions
With your
from
Google
Q.
directions, your maps, your Google Maps.
Get your life together. What is next for you, Megan?
Oh my gosh. Next for me, I've been really into collaborating with some people in the area or people that, aren't necessarily in Buffalo, but
all these retreats and stuff like that.
Yeah, we've got some awesome retreats coming up. We actually Barcentric and we partnered in on a retreat last year that was awesome. We did bar and booty in the Bahamas. A little alliteration for you.
I saw that they were doing something overseas. So are you involved in that again?
Yes, we're doing bar and booty in Costa Rica this year. Couldn't find another B, but going to Costa Rica this year, we sold out our retreat.
B to C.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Just moving down the alphabet.
Yeah.
We sold out with less than 48 hours.
Wow.
So we were like, oh, people really want to do this. Like there's really a demand for it. And it's something, it was awesome. We went on this 5-day vacation to the Bahamas. You're there, you still wake up early, you work out twice a day, you're eating healthy, fresh food, you're at a beautiful resort, you're hiking,
why come back?
Tell me about it. So, I mean, it was absolutely incredible. And then you come home and you don't miss a beat because you were eating healthy, even if you had a few drinks by the pool or, whatever it was.
Some shots.
Yeah, you're still, whatever. You're still working, you're still moving your body. You're still working out twice a day. You're still waking up early.
If you're doing 2 a days, you're getting some work in.
And you're really like, it was just awesome. So then when we got back, we were like, we have to do this again. So now we're like, okay, every year we're doing one. Now we're like, oh, do we need to do 2 a year? So just doing things like that. But, it really is a great way for people to try new things too. Like people that are bar-centric, loyal, and dedicated. They've never done yoga before, but they came on this retreat that was half yoga. So they did their workouts that they love to do, but they also tried something new and they, loved it there. And then I have, some of my clients from Raw Renewal that, had never done bar before, but here they are going on a retreat and doing bar classes. So it was great.
Living out the first rule.
Yeah. Just
that growth mindset.
That's right. So it was very cool. But now we're in the works with doing some other collaborations and not necessarily retreats out of the country or whatever it is, but, I've got a couple of great things planned for the summer here at the studio, and having some people from Buffalo that can come in and share their knowledge and really enlighten everybody.
Be part of that question. So what about you personally? What are you looking forward to doing next?
I think you touched on it earlier, just about always looking for knowledge and education and things like that. So I really love just going in and diving deeper into certain things. So always looking at that kind of stuff. But for me personally, it's just keep going. Just keep doing what I'm doing, because right now I really love where I'm at.
Keep on keeping on.
Keep on keeping on. That's right.
All right.
Yeah.
Last question. Any pro tips that you want to impart to our listeners?
Pro tips. I got to go back to what I said earlier. Nourish your body when it needs to be nourished. Push it when you can push it. But really get in tune with your body. Don't ignore things. When you've got some nagging little injury, don't be afraid to take a day off. It's not the end of the world. Think of the big picture instead of the next day. Oh, I'm not going to get my workout in tomorrow if this whatever. But just really look at why are you working out? What are you doing this for? Why are you taking a yoga class? Really figure that out and know why you're there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And where can people follow you and find out about some of these collaborations that you might be doing?
Yeah. Follow us on Instagram at Raw Renewal Yoga. You could also check out our website. It's rawrenewal716.com, or on Facebook.
All right.
Yeah, the usual social media.
That's right. Sweet. Well, I think that's it for the interview as far as that goes.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
We appreciate you taking the time. I know you're, as you said, busy Monday, busy day, busy life, and trying to keep this thing trucking. So we definitely appreciate you taking the time and for letting us take the class, because that was like you said, it was eye-opening. It's something for me, kind of postscript about this is that I would like to incorporate yoga more into my life. The two classes, or the two types of exercises that we've taken that we were both, for him and I, the spinning class, I was like, man, I could really, incorporate spin once or twice a month and be happy.
I had never considered it previously.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then yoga for me, because I always kind of wanted to try it out. And now that I've had the chance to, get a little bit of a taste here with the Buti Yoga, I think, maybe doing a class or two a month and maybe trying to, switch it up, see what digs with me. Because like you said, you don't have to necessarily just take one specific class. If that's what, get your rocks off, then go ahead. But otherwise, otherwise, like I said, I think the sculpt and maybe like taking a Buti flow would be kind of cool.
Yeah, keep it fresh. Do something new.
Keep it fresh.
I would agree. I know I could benefit from yoga. I've taken classes in the past for a reason.
Right.
Just kind of got away from it, partially because I moved and started going to a commercial gym, and the classes aren't as stimulating. So
yeah.
But I've kind of discovered a new spot in Buffalo that's got something to offer.
Good.
So I'm sure I'll be back too.
Awesome.
All right, Megan. Well, thanks again.
Thank you guys
so
much for having me.
Yep. Thank you for listening to the HeroFit podcast with Nick and Dan. We hope you've enjoyed this show. And if you want to know more about this episode, check out HeroFitPodcast.com. You can also listen to some of our prior podcasts. Our audience is strong, so we can't ask you to smash the subscribe button. Instead, please gently jab the subscribe button. Also, leave us a review on iTunes. Check us out on Spotify or Google or whatever medium you're listening to us on, please. And if you think someone you know would benefit from this podcast specifically, share it with a friend. And then join us next time. Till then, keep it classy.
This has been another episode of the HeroFit podcast, making humans great again, one podcast at a time.